Welcome to Mudimo Awaz, a podcast presented by Musico. I'm your host Mohua. On this podcast, we will talk to dreamers, unsung heroes who have broken the rules as they swam against the current and renewed their vows to themselves as individuals. The believers who've been crazy to start ventures that have made a difference to society and the lives they've touched with their magnanimity and knowledge. As for me, I was in the communications business in a leadership role and also been a homemaker. The slow death of my self-confidence that went unnoticed over the years, when self-worth was based on the validation I sought from others. Quoting the author Elif Shafak, do not go with the flow, be the flow. Hi, in today's episode, we have with us the late Dr. Rajkumar, who's considered a legend in the Kannada film industry. His granddaughter, who is going to soon come out with her first film, Dhanya. Welcome, Dhanya, to the show.
Thank you.
And Dhanya is going to tell us as to how it is and how it feels to be a legend's granddaughter and what are the expectations that people have out of you, Dhanya.
See, when you say legend, what I've seen him at home, right, as was my granddad. Like, I wasn't old enough to understand the extent to which his, fame went. And it was only much later when I grew up and he wasn't with us anymore that I realized he was so-and-so. But back when he was with us, I was like a kid and I didn't really grow up thinking he's this legend and we have this legacy and all of that. So I grew up very like a normal child.
What is very interesting about you, Dhanya, is that when we met last time when we were in a shoot together, you're an extremely grounded girl. Okay. And I really give a lot of credit to you in because we meet so many girls who can get extremely affected, with families that have got so much of name, in Bangalore, in Karnataka, in entire Karnataka. So who would you give this credit to in, keeping you the way you are as a person?
I think my mom, and she from her dad and mom. So basically the entire family, they've come from really humble beginnings. So I think they kept that in mind. And even when they grew up, they didn't let it get to them. And that's just what they've passed on to us.
So your mother is an influence in your life or your father is an influence in your life?
Both of them have, influenced me in different ways. But my mom, I would say, has influenced me
What about the acting bug? When did that start?
That bug has been there since I was a kid. Because
you're still a kid,
younger.
Okay.
So I would see, my uncles, my granddad, they would shoot, and all these actresses that worked with them. I would always just look at them while they were getting ready in their, getting their makeup done and hair, and I'd just be like, ooh, someday, as a kid. And then much later, I thought, okay, maybe this profession isn't for me because no one in my family, no girl in the family had ever brought it up. And it just never came up. So I assumed, maybe I shouldn't bring it up as well. So I changed that outlook and I decided to do journalism. But then while I was doing that, I felt like I wasn't satisfied. That's when the bug kind of crawled back in and I realized this is what I'm passionate about and I want to put my heart and soul into it.
And what is the film that you're going to debut in?
My first film is called Ninna Sanihake. And
what does it mean?
It means closer to you.
Okay.
Like if I...
It's a love story?
It's a romantic comedy.
Oh,
and I feel like in this industry, at least, we haven't seen a romantic comedy like this in a while. It's been a while. So I can't wait for everyone to watch it.
So now with COVID, with all the movie halls that are shut, so has that been like, it's taken you back, right?
Yes,
into
of
the whole
course.
launch of the film and the rest of it?
It's a lot more tricky now considering theaters aren't open and we aren't looking for an online release. So I guess we'll have to wait it out. But when I spoke to my team, the only thing we realized was everything that we were missing out on, we can work on now that we have the time. So the editing, the dubbing.
Has there been any reshoots?
Oh no, reshooting we didn't need, luckily, but everything else, the dubbing, we could, work on every single detail that could be worked on, we worked on.
You had more time to come up with a absolute
Yeah,
masterpiece now.
exactly.
Yeah, with all the corrections done.
Yeah.
We look forward to that. So tell me a little bit, about. I know that the whole world today, like every time I open every news channel, they're talking about nepotism. Okay. And, of course, Bollywood happens to get the maximum amount of glare, right?
Yeah, for
and
sure.
in India, I don't think there's a huge amount of, media really gives a spotlight in the vernacular films in the national media.
True. Yeah. You're
And
right.
you come up with real gems actually in the in vernacular languages, okay, and in cinema. So do you think nepotism also exists in the Kannada film industry?
See, I think nepotism exists in every industry, not just the films. And how do I put it? Yes, being from this family, you might get an opportunity faster. Maybe it's a little more convenient to get your first opportunity. You might not have to give as many auditions as someone else that's not from the industry. However, the pressure is doubled. But that's what makes it challenging. You have a reason to prove yourself to the people. Now you're coming up there and everyone's like, oh, she's from this family, that's why she's up there. And then they're judging you a lot more than they would judge someone else. But when you prove to them that, oh my God, she can do this, she's really good at it, then it's that much better. So I guess I'm just going to have to work and show people that I might be blessed to be in this family, and I might have got this opportunity, but I'm still here because I'm talented.
Are you also planning to go into Bollywood after a point? Would you be open to doing that? Because I've seen a lot of actresses, they all want to eventually get themselves a Bollywood, film role, and it makes sense because there is a huge mass in India that relates to Hindi,
See, that's... Of course, see, as of now, I want to sort of just work in a lot of good films. It could be in Kannada, it could be in Hindi, or any other language for that matter. For me, I want to work in a lot of good films.
Yeah?
Yeah. So as long as I get to do that, and if people get to see that and encourage me to do better, whichever industry I'm in, I'll be happy.
What about the pressure of being in the spotlight, Dhanya? Because I would like to imagine that, when you're young, you would want to be free, you want to party because you know that the spotlight is always on you. And if there's one mistake you make, you could run into the whole... mudslinging, the reputation number and all of that, So where do you see yourself? Do you feel that a certain part of your youth has been curbed because of all of this?
See, as of now, I'm still going about my life the same way I would earlier because I haven't really worked in too many films yet. So, when I walk out on the roads, there's not a lot of people coming up to me saying, hey, I know who you are yet. But when that does happen, I guess it just comes with the package. You have to take it with, the pros and the cons. And I wouldn't even consider this a con for that matter because it's what I've dreamt of, to be a star. And when you're a star, you're not just, doing good work, but you have people that love you so much that when they see you, they want to come up to you and they want to see what you're up to. So it's up to you to be responsible enough to show them the image that they are going to sort of follow.
Emulate at a later point.
Because you become a role model. So I think we'll change our lifestyle to sort of suit that. And I wouldn't mind.
So, Dhanya, do you see yourself, gravitating towards a cause that you think that, being in the position that you would, I'm sure you would be, you would like to be associated with?
Yeah, of course. In fact, my entire family, my grandfather, he always believed in donation of, being a donor post-death. And eye donation especially, he would always talk about that. And we've started this sort of, how do I put it? Like we say Netradana Mahadana, which in Kannada means donation of eyes is as good as something that God gives you.
Right.
So I believe in that. And apart from that, I'd obviously stand up for women, girls. I wouldn't say I'm
a brow burning feminist.
I wouldn't say I'm a brow burning feminist, but I do believe in equality, and I do think
that makes you a feminist.
I mean,
yes,
not
it does.
not one does that. Puts men down. I wouldn't say men are any less or that we deserve more than them, but I would believe in equality.
Space.
Yeah.
Yes.
That makes me a feminist, then I guess I'm a feminist.
Yes, you are a feminist to have a mind of your own.
Yeah.
And where none of the other women were actually thinking about it, and you decided to think about it and decided to take on something that the others have not done. So you have a mind of your own, Dhanya.
Of course.
So do you, what are the other things that you could share with us, in this entire journey of yours, your love life, have then, if you've known anybody, have they been affected with you being Dr. Rajkumar's granddaughter, and has relationships been skewed from that perspective,
Luckily, I don't know. I think it's because I've found people like this. Everyone that I know, all of my friends, the people that I've been with, all of my, even the acquaintances for that matter, they've never treated me differently. Like, I'm Dhanya to them. The baggage, they don't count. But of course, they acknowledge the fact that I come from there. And there are certain times when I can't do things that a lot of other people would do. Now, like you said, going out in public, doing a lot of things. And my friends understand that. So, they give me my space. And at the same time, they don't treat me like I'm some special girl or anything. To them, I'm just Dhanya.
What are the films that have influenced you the most? Which films have influenced you the most?
Like the films that I like the most?
Yeah. Your influence, because...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Anything. Whatever you think would have left in... For me, it's always been Ray's films that have left a huge mark in my mind, Satyajit Ray's films.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And who would be yours? I mean, if you were to... Even classic or anything that...
A film called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yes.
I've watched that over, I don't know, like 10, 15 times. And it's had a very big impact on me because it's about erasing your memories because you can't deal with the pain. Eventually, when the moral is basically that there's no point doing that because it takes away a part of you and eventually you end up emotionless. And that really hit me and it's helped me deal with my problems better. I feel like facing it head on is better than suppressing it or forgetting about it.
With a Cinderella life like yours, you would have problems. Tell me more. What do you mean by problems?
I mean, everyone deals with issues, and I've always been very vocal about it. I've dealt with anxiety, and I've had my slips into depression. I feel like everyone deals with it, and everyone has different types of problems and different ways of dealing with it. Some have more, some have less. And although it looks like my life on the outside is as rosy, it might not be.
Like it isn't for anybody, I think. You delve a little deeper and then you will find so many things that I think human beings can relate to one another on a certain level. And as women, it is always so much more difficult, I would like to believe, to prove yourself.
You're right. Yes, of course. And a lot more obstacles.
It's so much more, Dhanya. And if you happen to be nice looking, you are surely often thought to be dumb.
Yeah. I hate how that works.
Yes. And, they would imagine that you would have nothing intelligent to say and it would have just been your looks that has brought you to a certain space in life. And having been a professional myself in an industry which was very, very, it's considered to be a very open industry, but it is very male dominated in advertising,
You're right.
And, the bias that I faced when I was younger, that, that even if there was a great presentation or great business I won, they would not give me credit for the hard work that went into it. They would give me credit for the relationship I would have shared with the client, a friendship that you would have shared with the client, or they would say, because she was looking better than someone else.
Yeah.
And she got the business. So
the work that went behind.
It's always forgotten. So has that changed now, or do you think you face that even today?
It's gotten better, but there's still a huge disparity which needs to be changed some more. And it's gotten way better though, because like I mentioned earlier, my family never really thought about, the girls in the family entering the industry, because like you said, there's always been that little, treatment that's given to women that's not the same.
Yes.
And they were probably scared that the girls in their family.
I'm interrupting you, that the superstars are all men.
Yeah.
Amitabh
precisely.
Bachchan, Dr. Rajkumar, they're all men.
Precisely.
Where are the superstar women?
See, now things are changing. Now we have our Priyanka Chopra, we have our Deepika Padukone. Things are changing now. But like you said earlier, it wasn't like that.
It is SRK who's Badshah.
Yeah.
And seriously, because, this is something, Dhanya, that really bothers me, because, in spite of all the development, in spite of everything, we are still stuck with that,
You're right.
that labeling that a man and his talent is given so much more, credibility than what is given to a woman,
You're right.
And also, I've seen such old actors, a male actor is allowed to romance a younger actress. And
I know.
on screen, we're very accepting of it. And I want to talk to you about how, because I realize that we live in a very ageist society. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was, just today, I write every morning, Dhanya. So I was writing today morning about this whole thing, and I remember when I started and I sat at a cafe, and there's this theater guy, he's a producer, director, writer, and we met at the cafe and we used to sit down and talk. And, he got talking to me and he said, I want to offer you a role in my theater. And he wanted to know how old I was, all right, because he couldn't kind of, put an exact number. So, we exchanged and I said, I would love to write the script. And he went back and he WhatsApped me and he said, this is for some other director. He wants to know your age because based on, and I knew that he wanted to know more from, his perspective of how old I am, because it mattered to him. I
know what you mean. Yeah.
You don't meet such people every day, but
you don't, yeah.
Then he came back and the next time he said that, oh, why the hell do you need to work so much? Because it's like, for us, the minute you are in your 40s, you're expected to be a frau. And also in an industry that's so glamour-filled for films for you, Dhanya.
Yeah.
It bothers me so much that, I don't think you, when you grow a little older, would be able to romance somebody younger.
You're right. No, you're right. I mean, it's true. Of late, we've seen a few changes. I would say
Priyanka Chopra is one, of course,
Tabu
for sure.
As well. I mean, she's seen romancing Ishan in her next film, who's much younger. So these things are nice to see, that some change is being observed. However, it's nowhere near to where it should be.
It will be there, right?
Someday. I mean, that's the hope. That's what we're fighting for. That's what everyone's,
And you say you're not a feminist.
Well, I'm not going to stand there on the front line,
Yeah, equality is about both the genders being on the same pedestal,
you're right.
Yeah,
that's the hope, and that's what we're going to fight for. And hopefully someday I'll be able to work in some women-centric films that
I, of course, see you there.
Yeah, I would really love to, and make a difference.
Which actor would you say has been, that you look up to, internationally, nationally, anyone?
I mean, if we're talking about actors in general, I would say my favorite actor of all time is my grandfather. However, someone I look up to, like a woman that I've seen and all of her work that have really influenced me, is Jodie Foster.
Oh, I love her.
Oh, yeah. So when I watched Flight Plan and Silence of the Lambs or Panic Room, these movies really, really, like, that's when I thought there's something called acting, like she was just...
she brilliant.
She was that character. Like I could see that she was living that character. And I've always just wanted to be like her.
So, when you are an actor, you have to delve totally into the character.
Yes, yeah.
And to get out of that character is also another process. Am I right?
See, it is a process, but it's always better to be able to switch on and switch off.
And how do you do that?
This is what I learned from my teacher who taught me acting when I went to theatre school. Her name is Gauri Dattu. So basically, she said that you should never be in that character when you're done with your shot, because it affects you as a person. With every character, you start to change as a person. You take something from that character and eventually you lose yourself, which is why you need to be able to switch on and switch off.
Does that happen with a lot of actors, that they lose themselves?
I've heard it does. It does affect them. They get depressed if they've played a role that requires them to sort of be sad all the time. I've heard all of this, but in my first film, I didn't really have such an experience. I was able to get into character in the moment and then get out of it when I needed to. So it worked for me.
Yeah. And maybe just share with us something that's really, really personal, but something that's been your inspiration, your moment that you think, that the listeners would like to know about. Who is behind Dhanya? Who's the person who propels her to wake up every morning and get going? And don't tell me it's mother, father, somebody. Just tell me, what is it? Who is it?
I mean, I think it's just me.
How lovely is that?
Yeah.
Self-love.
Yeah, no, because if it wasn't for me, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today, because no one had to push me to get here. I had to sort of, in fact, like I said, my family, no other girl had come out there and said, I want to act, but I did.
And they're all supporting you in this, right?
Yeah, that's what's awesome about it. All of them, including my extended family, my uncles, everyone is extremely supportive. And they said that if you're very passionate and determined, how does it matter if you're a girl or a guy? You should be able to pursue it,
Do you watch films every day?
Yeah, I love watching movies. And, in fact, even if it comes to a book or a movie, I'd much rather watch a movie because I feel like I'm more of a visual person. So I like to watch a lot of films.
Yeah, I think cinema as a medium is one of the most amazing art mediums ever.
Yeah.
It can cater to people all across,
Exactly.
It cuts across all bias.
And the language does not even matter. I mean, I don't even need subtitles because you can just you just get into it.
So we need to have a movie date together.
Yeah, of course we should.
Because I love movies. I live, love, breathe cinema.
Like especially this lockdown, don't you think we've all binged on a lot more films than we've ever?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have, for sure, And I've also really, really liked, a series that my son introduced me to was Sex Education.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh my God.
And she was amazing.
The mom,
Yeah.
right? The mom. She's so cool.
She is so amazing, as a character. I'm
You're
really
right.
waiting for India, to have more
Something
actors
like that.
who are who can inspire you to be, to go beyond these, gender
barriers.
Yeah. So, thanks a ton, Dhanya, for coming over and talking to us. And thank you so much for being part of the Moody Mohavas podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Mo. Really, it meant a lot to me.
And we are now waiting to watch your debut film, and I'm sure it's going to be an absolute super duper success.
I can't wait.
If you just tell us the name once again, Dhanya.
It's called Ninna Sanihake, and it stars me and Suraj Gowda in the lead. So I can't wait for you guys to watch it.
Congratulations, and thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.